Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So the theme in the Bhagavad Gita today is discrimination. Devotees of the Lord and the Lord, they are discriminating between what is good and what is not good, what is auspicious, what is not auspicious, and so on. What is to be accepted and what is to be rejected. This is part of the Bhakti Yoga's program. So, in this particular theme of discrimination, we're looking at some verses from the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where it's stated, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmani Gavihastini Shunichaiva Spapakecha Panditas Samadarshinaha, that a person who is actually learned and sees what is what, he sees from the transcendental platform, he sees that all living beings, whether they're a dog, an elephant, a dog eater, a Brahmin, a demigod, the spirit soul is the active ingredient. You are spirit soul, as described by Krishna to Arjuna in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Not only that, but the Lord is so kind that in his form as Vishnu, or the Paramatma, he's seated in the hearts of all living beings, whether it's a worm or a hog or a demigod. The Lord accompanies the soul through millions and trillions of various species that he may acquire due to his desires and his karma. So in this particular verse, we're discriminating that we're not seeing the body, the cow, the dog, even you can say upadi. Upadi means misconception, that I'm a Christian and he's a Muslim, or he's a Buddhist, or he's African, he's black, or he's white, he's Caucasian, or she's Chinese, or they're communists, or they're capitalists, or they're the enemy, or they're the friend, they're the allies, they're the... In this way, because of the mode of passion, Pritag Vinat Tuyajganam Nana Bhavam Pritag Vidam Veti Sarveshu Bhutishu Tadgyanam Rajasam Smritam. The Bhagavad Gita explains in the modes of material nature, when people are influenced by the lower mode, the mode of passion, they wrongfully discriminate based on the external identification. That's a woman. Oh, that's a man. That's an animal. That's a human. Therefore, people think, oh, I'm a very good person. I believe in God. And then they go and they support animal slaughter by consuming slaughtered animals. So the real person in knowledge here is described, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmani Gavihastini Shrune Chaivispapakecha Pandita. Pandit means one who is learned. Samadarshina. Sama means equal vision. He sees Samadarshina, darshan. He sees with equal vision all the various varieties of life, butterflies, worms, hogs, dogs, human beings, different types of human beings, whether they're tribals or, Europeans and so on, or even in the higher planets, Maharloka, Tapaloka, Jnanaloka, Sattvaloka, Satyaloka. These are the highest planets. We see there are devas, or higher beings. Or in the lower planets, we see Patalaloka, Vattalaloka, various planets, Mahatala, where they are lower beings called subterranean heavenly planets. So the goal of life is to realize Samadarshinaha, to see all the beings as equal and parts and parcels of Krishna. As Krishna tells Arjuna, Yomam Pashyati Sarvasya, Sarvam Chamai Pashyati. Tasyaham na pranashyati Sachamena pranashyami. He says, the one who sees me in everything and everything in me, he is a real knower of things, and he is never lost to me, nor am I ever lost to him. So the enlightened person, he's always knowing that super soul is accompanying him even after death to his next body. And whatever desire a person may have, it is a super soul that actually fulfills one's desire, even if that desire is detrimental to the person, is deleterious. It may not be auspicious, it may be inauspicious, but the super soul has to arrange to cater to one's desires. Man proposes, God disposes. That's how it works. But just like in a social perception, from a social point of view, if you go and steal or kill or commit a crime, ultimately the Madam Justice will punish you, or you will be rewarded if you do some acts of charity or some altruistic or philanthropic work. So similarly, there's a universal laws as well, and it's called Shastra or scripture, where one has to act based on, govern his life based on the scripture. So in chapter 5, text 19, those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they're already situated in Brahman. So Brahman means a transcendental position. And Krishna tells Arjuna that if you really want to transcend, then you have to be his devotee. There's yoga, the yoga practices to try and transcend. There's also jnana or Advaitism, where one identifies that he is God, but he thinks he's God in all equations, in all explanations. But you're not God in quantity. Can you make a universe? Can you destroy a universe? This is the power of Lord Vishnu and his expansions, Shiva and so on, Brahman, Shiva and so on. So as tiny spirit souls, Krishna says, Mam chiyo vabhicharana charane bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati chaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate triguna vishaya veda nistriguna bhavarjana nirvan vo nityashat rishto niryoga shema atmavam. These verses are describing attaining the platform of equanimity, or the platform where one sees oneself as an eternal part and parcel of God, spirit, soul. He doesn't see himself as some kind of human being or whatever. He sees all creatures as souls. And they're also, in this verse, Mamchiyo Vabhicharane Bhakti Yogena Sevati, the goal of every living being is to serve God, to engage his mind, body, and senses in the service of the Lord. Ihayasya harer dasya karmana manasa gira nikilashva puavasta su jivan mukta sayuchite. A great saint, Rupa Goswami, he is quoting this verse in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, a famous book in Bengal, the nectar of the ocean of devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. In this verse, he says, one who engages his mind, his body, his words, everything in the service of the Lord, he is Jivan Mukta. He is on the transcendental platform and he is liberated. He has moksha, even living in the body. He can do activities, but in the service of God, under the guidance of the acharyas. Under the guidance of the acharyas means under the guidance of the revealed scriptures given by the acharyas, like Veda Vyas, Narada Muni, etc. Coming down, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then of course we have our most recent Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So this is a scientific implementation of scripture where we transcend, our mind transcends the lower influences of Rajagun and Tamagun. As Krishna says in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Rajasas tu phalam dukam, that in the mode of passion, one experiences misery. If we identify with this body and its senses, the subsequent result is misery. What to speak of tamagun? In tamagun, agyana tamasa phalam, ignorance, total ignorance, madness. People do things like killing, anger, sleeping too much. This is all tamagun. So these are the lower modes which degrade the human fabric, the moral fabric. So it is very important for us to discriminate, to know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha. Subha subha parityagi. To know what is auspicious and what is not auspicious, to know what is actual dharma and what is not dharma, and to practice the real dharma. So in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text number 32, it touches again on discrimination. Atma pamyena sarvatra samam pashati yorjuna. He is a perfect yogi, by comparison to his own self, sees true equality of all beings, both happiness and distress. So our business is to see that living entities are going through life. Purusho prakriti stohi bhunkte prakriti sadgunam karanam gunasango sadasad joni janmasu. That the living entity, uneducated in spiritual knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Puranas, the Puranas, Upanishads, uneducated in spiritual knowledge. Purusho prakriti. Purusha means trying to enjoy the material world. Prakriti means the material energy. Purusho prakriti stohi bhunkti prakriti sagunan. Karanam gunasangosyad. He is associating with the lower modes of nature, Rajagun, Tamagun. Karanam gunasangosyad sadashad joni janmashu. Then he takes birth in all types of species of life based on the laws of karma. So a devotee sees a living entity that's going through life trying to enjoy the material world. But actually the material world is like a cave full of salt. Wherever you taste in the cave, try to taste something from the wall of the cave, it's nothing but salt. So Krishna says in the Gita, Mamopecha punar janma dukalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanas samsadim paramam gatim. It means that one who sees that this material world is temporary, dukalayam, and means miserable, and ashashvatam, very temporary. The body lasts for a few years, then it's gone. One's wealth may come, but then one may lose one's wealth. One's health may be there for some time, but then one health fails, and he has heart attack, cancer, so many diseases. So this world is not actually a very nice place, and therefore Krishna says, Paramam Gati. You go to the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, Chintamani Prakada Sadmasu Kalpavriksha Lakshavite Susurabir Labipaliyantam Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. If one at the time of death thinks of Krishna, Antakale Chamameva Smaran Muktva Kalevaram. Krishna says, if you remember me at the time of death, which is quite a challenge because the body is falling apart, people panic, and they think about their family members, they think about their plans. So it takes a whole full lifetime to practice how to fix the mind on God. Then in the spiritual world, Chintamani Prakarasadmasu, the world is made of touchstone there. Krishna's abode, Goloka Vrindavan, is made of touchstone. Kalpavriksha, the trees there, wish-fulfilling trees. Whatever you wish in order to serve Krishna, the tree supplies you with whatever you want, not just fruit, anything. Oh, I want to offer Krishna a nice golden necklace with rubies, diamonds, and jewels, and the tree supplies. And Chintamani Prakarasama Sukalpaviksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabir Abhipalyantam. There are many beautiful, wonderful, wish-fulfilling cows also, Surabi cows. Krishna is known as Govinda, the one who gives shelter to the cows. Krishna is the cowherd boy in the spiritual world. He's also surrounded by millions and millions of Surabi cows. These cows are very powerful. They have mystic powers, and they have wonderful milk. They can also address whatever your needs are to serve Krishna. They can supply also. Lakshmi Sahasrasata, there are billions and trillions of goddesses of fortune who are always having pastimes with Lord Krishna. Gopis, the gopis are with Krishna in the Vrindavan pasturing grounds, in the forests of Vrindavan. Very many forests are there. This is going on in the spiritual world, and it's all full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. There's no such thing as time in the spiritual world. Time is conspicuous by its absence. There's no suffering. The body is made of Sat, Chit, and Ananda, eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So to attain that platform, one has to surrender his life to the Guru and Krishna. Yasya devi parabhaktir yata devi tata guru. Tasyaite katita kiyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. One has to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master who's actually living the purport and import of scripture, of Krishna's instructions. Tata Guru, Tata Deve, Tata Guru. Deve means God. You also have to obey the orders and instructions of God through the medium of spiritual master. He gives you direction. He explains to you what Krishna means, how to practice this bhakti yoga process. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishasi satyam te pratijani priyosimi. Become my devotee, think of me, manmana, always think of God, think of service to God, think of God himself. He is described in the many scriptures, many literatures, Brahma Samhita, that he has a beautiful color like a monsoon cloud, bluish, blackish blue. He's seen in his threefold bending form. He's exquisitely beautiful. He's more beautiful than all the cupids. And he is very attractive, all attractive person. And he's always playing on his flute and attracting the inhabitants of Vrindavan. So God is a person. There's descriptions of God by the great sages. Arjuna tells Krishna in the 10th chapter, Parambam, Parandam, Pavitram Paramambavam, Purusham Shashvatam Devyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhum, Ahustram Vishaya Sarve, Deva Rishi Naratastata, Asito Devalovya. So that all these great sages, including Narada Muni, glorify you as, elevate you and glorify you as Param Brahm, Param Dham, Pavitram Paramambavam. You're the supreme shelter. You're the supreme spirit, Param Brahm. You're the supreme purifier, Pavitram Paramambavam. You're the supreme, you have superior nature over all that is. In fact, you tell Arjuna that you're the source of both the spiritual and material worlds. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. He tells Arjuna that I am Krishna says, I'm the source of both spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So that is a nutshell verse of Bhagavad Gita. We simply have to practice this practice of Bhakti Yoga, and we can see Krishna everywhere. Krishna is actually everywhere, and that is what we call discrimination. We discriminate between matter and spirit. We discriminate that Krishna is in every atom. He is in everyone's heart, and he's guiding and supplying whatever we want. But then there are consequences to our actions, good or bad. So there we have it. We have another verse, 929. 929. The chapter 9 is entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge. In 29, Krishna tells Arjuna, Samaham sarva bhuteshu name dvesho stina priya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Says, I am equal to all beings. I am non-envious. I'm not envious of anyone. However, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, one who engages in my service, maite teshu chap, he's a friend in me and I'm a friend to him. That is his final word. Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsal. You can't control Krishna by anything other than bhakti or devotion to him. In other words, Krishna has no needs. Ete kamsa pala pumsham. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vrakulam Lokam. Ridyanti Yuge Yuge. Ete chamsa kala pumsham. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. He is Bhagavan Swayam. He is independent of everyone. So the only thing that can attract Krishna is how much we're devoted to him, how much we want to glorify his holy name. Kali Yuga means glorification of the holy name. Yagyai Sankirtane prayer. So that is Krishna. And here he's saying, one who becomes my devotee, I am very dear to him. He is very dear to me. And that is called Bhakta Vatsala. That God himself, he does appear in this world. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam shujam yaham richanaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharmasam stapanar paratayo sambhavami yuge yuge. After one yuga, after the next, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, the Lord comes many, many times. Nanavatarama karod bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paraman punvan yo govindamari purusham tamaham bhajami. The Lord has millions and trillions of avatars, many, many avatars. And he appears for the upliftment of human society when there's dharma. Dharma siglanir means a breakdown of religious principles, a degradation of religious principles. Then the Lord comes to fix things. And Vinashai Chaduskritam, he does kill the demons, but anyone that's killed by Krishna, they attain Brahman, they attain the effulgence of the Lord. Just like the yogis and the Jnana yogis and all the yogis, they meditate on the effulgence of the Lord. And then they enter into this effulgence. They merge with the Lord's effulgence, and they think that this is the highest plateau, the highest goal of life. But when Krishna kills the demons, even those who are envious of him, like Shishupal, Kamsa, when he kills them, they also go to the same place as the yogis, into the Brahman effulgence. So the devotee doesn't care. He has no desire to attain this effulgence of the Lord. He simply wants to serve the Lord, even if he's in hell or heaven, he doesn't care. Narayana parasarve nakutasya nabibhiti swarga pavarga narakeshu apitulyartha parshada. The devotee of Lord Narayan, he doesn't care whether he's in hell or heaven. Just like Bali Maharaj, she's down in the lower planets, Vitala Loka, the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, but he's happy because he's always serving Krishna. It doesn't matter whether it's in this world or in Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha, he doesn't care as long as he's serving Krishna and remembering Krishna, using his mind to serve the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the devotee of the Lord. Yene Ravindaksha Vimuktimaninas Tvaya Ashtabhavat Avishuddha Buddhaya. In the 10th canto of Bhagavad Purana, Sukadeva Goswami criticizes these yogis and gyanis, Yene Ravindaksha Vimukti Maninas, who are simply concerned about their own moksha. Yene Ravindaksha Vimukti Mani Tuyashtabhavat Avishuddha Buddhaya. Their intelligence is compromised, their intelligence is flawed, because they're certainly not interested in serving God. They simply want to become God, and they think that by merging into the Brahman of God, the Brahma Jyoti, somehow or other they become God. It's impossible to be God. Aruna Krishna Param Tata Patanti Adro Nadrita Yushmadangraya. It means that after some time in the Brahma Jyoti, they fall back down into the material halo, into the material world, because the soul wants to serve. It can't just be situated in some frozen kind of state of just floating, like that. So the souls who try to attain Brahman, they fall back down into the materialistic conception of life, and they open up hospitals, and they say, Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. If I serve man, then I'm serving God, and they do word jugglery. It's called Chala Dharma, which is called word jugglery. They reinterpret the Vedas in their own way to satisfy their ideas. So here, Krishna is saying, I'm not envious. Samoham Sarvabhuta, he's equal to everyone. The laws of nature are simply being conducted in a very objective way. There's no favoritism, or Krishna is saying there's no favoritism and there's no prejudicial implementation of the law. Just like if a child puts his hand in fire, it burns. So ignorance is not an excuse. One has to come to the platform of Atata Brahma Jigyasa. Ask the question, what am I? Who am I? Where did I come from? What is my purpose? And where am I going in the future, the long-term future after death? These are questions for human beings to ask. That is a philosopher. So this is, in conclusion, discrimination is important to know what we really are and what our purpose in life is, and the nature of our relationship with God and the nature of God's relationship with us. So thank you very much, and we'll end here. Hare Krishna.